Okay, we're going to be replacing the IMRC in a Ford Escort 2002. This is not a job that should take too long, doesn't require much in the way of tools, and there's really not much to do. The first thing you're going to do is loosen the hose clamps on the rubber hose that extends between the air filter and the intake manifold. You're also going to take that small rubber hose that's in the top of the larger rubber hose and pull it out, just so you can move it out of the way. Once disconnected from the intake manifold and the air filter, just swing it over to the side. Now the arrow is showing the cavity where the old IMRC should reside. In this photograph it's already been removed. You're going to remove the IMRC by taking out 3 bolts, 2 at the top, 1 at the bottom. The one on the bottom is reached using the aid of a 3-inch socket extension. Now down in the circle where you're seeing right now, there is a mechanism that the IMRC engages. It's called the runner control. This runner control has 2 tabs on it. Those tabs engage 2 similar tabs on the IMRC. This whole unit should rotate in the direction that the arrows show. Plus you'll see inside the circle on the photograph there is a wear mark that was created by the old IMRC. Before putting the new IMRC in place, make sure that this runner control mechanism will still rotate freely. Well, you have to overcome the force of the preload spring, but it should rotate freely except for that force. It should rotate counterclockwise. If this doesn't rotate, you can't move this, you've got a bigger problem than the IMRC. The runner control linkage is stuck. This is only fixed by pulling the intake manifold apart, getting to the runner control mechanism, and cleaning and relubricating it. Hopefully that's not your problem. On the new IMRC, there's a mechanism that looks much like the runner control tabs. You're going to rotate this mechanism so it's lined up like you see it in the photograph. There's even an arrow on the base of the IMRC, and that lever has an installation position. If this is not in the correct position when you install this, it's not going to engage the runner control mechanism, and the system is still not going to work properly. Okay, once you got this alignment fixed and you line it all up, put it in place, put the 3 bolts back in, and remember to reconnect the electrical connections to the IMRC. After this is done, put the rubber boot back in place, tighten the hose clamps, put the small rubber hose that you pulled out of the top of the big rubber boot, plug it back in place. You should be all done. Make sure you haven't disconnected something else in the process or moved anything or jarred any other cables loose, and that should be all there is to it. Now in my case, the IMRC was jammed, and I kind of wondered what made it do that. Seems to me this part should last a little bit longer than it did, so I took it apart. Now remember, you can't really fix this unit. It's not serviceable. It's put together by rivets and really not meant to take apart, but I wanted to get to the bottom of the root cause. This is a photograph of the black hood taken off of the top of the unit. Also there was a rubber gasket that went around the outside of this frame that sealed it from the atmosphere. Well, that rubber gasket crumbled to dust when I took it off, broke into several pieces. Of course it wasn't working. Water got inside, and as you can see from the rust, it pooled toward the bottom of the unit, and that corroded some electrical component connections as well as heavily corroded the motor. There you see the corrosion toward the right-hand side of the circuit board. I took the circuit board off, removed the motor, and the gears inside the motor cavity where the spur gear meets up with these gears was heavily rusted. However, once having the motor out, I could eventually get these gears to turn. The motor, however, was a different story. Once I took it out, I couldn't get this spur gear to turn with my fingers, so I used a pair of pliers. I broke it loose. Once I did get it loose, I could get the motor to turn, but it was never the same. It didn't turn freely. This motor was the root cause. It had corroded to the point where it wouldn't turn anymore. So, there you have it. A $246 part that lasted 10 years. Its demise was due to the fact that what sealed it from the atmosphere wouldn't maintain the seal for any longer than that 10-year period of time. Well, hopefully you got it all back together. It's working, and you won't see this problem for at least another 10 years. Good luck. Thanks.